Okay, I hit the right buttons. Oh, there we go. Okay, good. All right. So I see Ashley's here. Tatiana. Let's see. Catherine.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Shaoshan.
Yeah, I'm here.
Shi Chen. And Sierra.
I'm here.
Excellent. And then Janae. All right. So I was just whining to Ashley about how this weekend was just completely bonkers, and so that's why I didn't have internet access, and it makes it really difficult to upload stuff on the internet when you don't have access. So we're only going to have one code word for today's, and that code word is problematic. Notice the consistent theme of irony in all the code words. Let's see. Yen Chen is here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, excellent. And I'm sorry also for having to start a little bit later. Again, that was just a carryover from the weirdness of the weekend. Primarily, what today's get together is about is we're just going to talk about, see what you questions you guys have, and what we're going to talk about over the final. Did everybody see the invitations for today's and then both the final sessions on Thursday? Did everybody see those invitations show up in your feed? Okay. Again, you only need to show up for one of the two final sessions, either the one at 8 o'clock or the one at 6:30. You do not have to show up for both unless you really, really want to. All right, who just joined us? Somebody,
Nicole?
Nicole. Okay, excellent. And then another person just joined us. Who's that? Oh, actually, no, that was Tatiana. Okay. The final, what we're going to be doing, the reason why you need to be present is that we're going to be talking about the class as a whole. Everybody should have found the links to the SRI little thing to fill out, and that's for extra credit. We're going to be going over basically the same kind of information during the final, except that you're going to tell me what you've, hey Amy, what you've learned, what you got out of the course. And we're going to record it so that we can, it'll be in the cloud for posterity. So if you guys want to look at just some of the recordings of previous finals, that'd be totally fine. It's not a test, it's a conversation. There's not going to be a test or anything like that. Again, I apologize for not having internet access. I will try to get all the grading and everything up online by tonight at midnight, so you guys have that. And I was telling Ashley that I just found out that things do not have to be due until Monday morning. So you guys can have until midnight on the 15th to get everything done and turned in. Will that make it easier on you guys? Some of you don't need it because you're starting the forehead A+ students anyway. But for everybody who needs it, that gives you another couple days to finish stuff and turn it in. And I will send out an email to that effect. So everything is due midnight on the 15th. All right. Somebody new joined us just a minute ago. Who just barely joined us? Okay. I have initial MP, but I don't.
Michael LaPlante.
Okay, Michael, that's it. All right. Thank you. Okay. Make sure the numbers tally. Everything's good. All right. Super. All right. Excellent. Now, I did notice when I finally was able to get on the internet this morning that several people have watched stuff and got their attendance up to date, and that's really good to see. I appreciate you guys paying attention to that. Attendance is an odd thing when it's an asynchronous course, and I just noticed that there's a lot of stuff that was turned in as well, so that is awesome to see. Also, does anybody have any questions for me, particularly regarding PowerPoint and critique presentations? Anybody have any questions? Okay, I'll just go over it again really quickly. The PowerPoint presentations are supposed to be between 6 to 8 minutes long. If you go under 6 minutes, it can you can lose points, and if you go over 10 minutes, you'll lose points. Does anybody remember how long the longest presentation was? It was in class, but the lady kept going for almost a half an hour. She was very excited about her subject matter, I guess. And we really don't want to do that. Uh, for the artist critiques, um, they only need to be 2 or 3 minutes long. And again, you just answer a couple questions for each of the 4 steps of critique. Does anybody remember what the 4 steps of the artistic critique are? What's the first step?
Describe.
Yes, excellent. What's the second step?
Analyze.
Yes, excellent. What's the difference between describe and analyze?
For describe, you're just listing what you see, like the observations, versus analysis, you're like wanting to figure out what the artist is trying to say.
All right, yeah, what the artist was trying to do. Yeah, exactly, getting those textures and stuff. Excellent. What's the third step?
Interpretation.
Yes, exactly. What is the difference between interpretation and analyze?
We need to say about meaning of this piece in interpretation. How accessible this work, maybe what is symbolize this work.
Yeah, I think the big difference between analyze and interpret is analyze, like what Catherine was saying, is you're trying to figure out what the artist was doing, and interpret, you're trying to figure out what it all means. And an example of that would be, for example, you're describing a variation of texture on the piece. Then for analysis, you're describing that the artist is trying to generate specific emotions with each of these different textures. And then interpret, you're asking yourself, trying to address the question of why is the artist trying to express different emotions. So what's the last step? What's the fourth step?
Judgment.
All right, and what's the difference between judgment and interpretation?
Judgment, you're actually like deciding whether or not it actually works as a piece or if you like it.
Yeah, and I think that's also a good place to put in where would you do things a little differently? Or what do you really like that you're going to use in your own work? You know, was this successful? Does it have value? Is it intrinsic value or monetary? You know, so yeah, exactly. I think you guys have a really good grasp on that. I'm looking forward to maintaining my access to the internet so I can see what you guys actually said. I think that'll be great. Who has anybody had problems with the PowerPoints? Again, I will try to get all those up by midnight tonight. Get those all going so that everybody can see what's going on with them. And from what I've seen so far, it's looking pretty good. Again, if you are one of the several people that doesn't want to have your voice for whatever reason on it, um, let's figure out a way around that. See what we can do for that. That's going to be really problematic with the artist critique uh, because that's going to be something where your voice is really important. So yeah, if that's an ongoing concern, please uh, email me again, and we'll see what we can do. I have had people in the past before. I think I mentioned it. Have somebody else be their voice and narrate it. If of course they only had their roommate do that, but for me, I would love to have like James Earl Jones or um, Holly Hunter. I think would be awesome. I'd love to have her voice narrate my comments on something. I think that'd be great and a little disconcerting for people. Or Kate Beckinsale. I think that'd be nice. I like her voice. Does anybody have any concerns about this last couple days? How are people coming along? How are people finding the workload? The principal reason for this morning's class is just so that last minute concerns and observations from people can be aired. I would like to. I'll go through the list of everybody that's here. When I call your name, just let me know where you stand, and let me know which session, morning or evening, you're going to be making for the final. So we'll start with Nicole. How are you doing overall? And are you going to be making the morning or afternoon session?
I'm doing good so far, and then I'll be going to the afternoon.
All right, excellent.
Thank you.
All right, Shu-Chen, how are you doing? And will you be doing the
Hi,
afternoon?
good, good. And I guess I would be doing the morning section.
Okay, all right, excellent. And whether or not you make the session that you're telling me right now is completely immaterial. If something comes up and you have to do the other one, that's fine. I'm just trying to get a sense for how many people will be in each one, and that's it. So you're not honor bound to keep to it. All right.
Okay, thanks.
All right, Sierra.
I'm good, and I'll probably go to the morning one.
Okay. All right. Good. How about Amy?
I'm good, and I'll do the morning one.
All right. Excellent. Catherine, where do you stand? And which one do you want to do?
I'm doing good. I will be there for the morning one.
Okay. All right. Michael, how about you?
Doing pretty good. I don't have any questions. I think I'm gonna be there for the morning one.
Morning. Okay. How about Yenchen?
I'm good. I will do a morning one as well.
Okay. Excellent. Shashan?
I like doing the morning section. So
Okay. All right. So it sounds like almost everybody's doing the morning one. So the evening one is going to be really, really lonely, unless some of you guys want to join us with that. How about Tatiana? Where do you stand? And do you want to? Are you planning on morning or evening?
I'm good. I will be, I think, afternoon meeting.
All right, excellent. You've doubled the expected bodies there. Excellent. How about Janae?
I'm doing pretty good and got my classwork done, but I'll probably be at the morning one.
Okay. All right. How about Ashley?
Yeah, I'm good, and I will be attending the morning session.
Okay. All right, great. I think that gives me a pretty good idea. So the morning one will be pretty lively, and everybody that hasn't made it to this morning's class will see you via the magic of video technology. You'll hear my voice whenever you actually watch the recording. But I look forward to seeing you in the evening session. Again, it's vital that you attend one or the other. You do not have to attend both. And if something comes up and you have to attend the other section than the one you've told me, that is completely fine. Again, that's totally fine. What we do need to do is just make sure that you actually attend it. And if you're here and you still have sessions that you need to make up, please do watch them and get that to me as soon as you can. And again, everything is due on Sunday night at midnight. And I will do my darndest to have everything up online or graded by tonight, and I will have everything online on our channel by tonight. And if you guys have any questions about anything, again, what's the does anybody remember what the protocol is for resubmitting? If you need to resubmit stuff for the quiz, what are the two different ways you can do that?
Comment or email?
Yeah, or you can also retake it. But yeah, I think it's a lot easier all around if you just make a comment and then email me and let me know. I think that really helps. How about the other stuff? There was one person who had forgotten to submit their sketches, and so they just did a resubmit and just submitted the sketches, and Canvas just erased everything else that they had done for that particular assignment. So they had to go back a third time and resubmit yet again with the original photos that they had sent plus their sketch photos and do it all at the same time. So the resubmitting on Canvas will overwrite what you've done before. So if you, it will keep the comments, but it will overwrite the photos and documentation. So if you are resubmitting, just be aware of that. You don't have to send the original stuff. You could just pretend it's all new, and that's fine. But I would recommend emailing me because Canvas doesn't always let me know when you resubmit an assignment. So, and just be aware of that. Just email me when you do make resubmissions. And if you're going to resubmit 5 or 6 things, do them all and then email me. I think a couple of the class members have done this already. Just email me and say, hey, I've resubmitted these 5 or 6 assignments. I think 3 people were having a hard time because Canvas, it doesn't like a couple formats. Like I think HEIC is a common format for mobile phone, and it's automatic, but Canvas, and you don't really have an option as to changing the format if you're submitting from mobile phone. Canvas will not recognize it and won't let me open it. And if you have like really high-res images, Canvas will take forever to load, and then we'll just load a blank page because it can't handle it. So when you do submit or you have to resubmit, make sure that it's a JPEG or a PDF, and also make sure that it's under like 500K memory. Ideally, the best submission for art exhibits is always going to be more than a couple megs, but for Canvas, it has to be under half a meg because it won't even open. So keep in mind that. The simplest way to resize it is I did send out an email with a link to a couple YouTube videos about that. But if you have something like Paint on your system, you can open up the Paint program, go to resize, and resize it with a smaller memory count or pixel size, and it usually will take care of that pretty simply. Now, does anybody? I've asked everybody. Does anybody have any last minute questions? Because I am going to have to close. It's the tail end of that same kind of emergency that I told you about that was causing me all sorts of problems over the weekend. So I do have to leave you guys. But I wanted you to have a last minute excuse for another attendance point and a last minute opportunity to ask any remaining questions or to air any other concerns. Anybody have any? All right. One thing that I really appreciate is for the Colorful Cocoon project, there have been several where I looked at and I gave a preliminary grade, asked somebody to explain what was going on. And what I loved about that is that you were able to explain what you were doing and articulate what you were doing. And the ideas behind it just exploded. It just made me very aware of how impressive the piece actually was. And in every case, the grade went up quite a bit just because I knew what was going on. So with your Colorful Cocoon piece, please submit to me in the comments or resubmit it with a document that just shows your thought behind it and talks about what you were doing with it. I think it gives an excellent opportunity for explaining what you were thinking. And as in I think it's the first or second quiz we had, one of the ways to engage interest of a viewer is to provide some sort of text documentation that gives some background. Kuntz, Jeffrey Kuntz does this quite a bit in his artist statements, and he also does this when he's titling pieces. What I love about him is that he was one of the first big artists that showed a lot of sense of humor in his titling. His titling will be untitled, and then in parentheses, revisiting Masonia, and then close the parentheses, or something like that. He will do the title in the parentheses after stating that it's untitled. And I think that's hilarious because in the art world, you just don't do that. You just leave it untitled or say it's a number in a series. And then you read his artist statements, and he has a lot of sense of humor, but he makes a lot of intellectual references in his artist statements, so you can really see what he's thinking about. And when I appreciated that, I'm gonna call Amy out specifically. She wrote quite a bit about why she was doing what she was doing, and it was really fascinating to hear just her rationale and why she chose the materials that she did. And I really appreciated that. There was somebody else who did a paper bouquet of a bouquet of paper flowers. She did the same kind of thing, and the flowers you don't even see all the work that's underneath because she's hidden everything. Very impressive. A lot of thought going into it. Very conceptual. And anymore, as we are accessing things on the internet, there was a famous artist critique or critic in the 50s who said that with the escalating speed of experience, if the art didn't grab your attention and say all it needed to in 3 seconds, it wasn't worth it. And I think that's completely wrong. How many of you have gone back to a book or an art piece on repeated times, reread the same book, re-watched the same movie, re-experienced the same art piece, and each time you go back, you find something different? I think all of you have. Is that fair to say? That is a pretty consistent theme. And especially when you have the tools of artistic critique under your belt, it's easier to go back and see even more. There's a series of books that I really love by a writer. His name is Gene Wolfe, and it's basically the Christ story in a completely different way of looking at it. And it's, um, I love that is a story, whether or not you're Christian, that is a story that has informed everything from art and architecture to language and writing in Europe and the rest of the Western world for the last 2,000 years. And so it's a really important story. And to see that come back in different ways, it's really fascinating. Um, there are other artists that I really like reading, writers, Ibn Arabi, um, uh, Rumi, these poets I really love because they deal with Sufi stories, which are have their foundation in the Gnostic Gospels. Even though it's in an Islamic tradition, and even though everybody who writes about them is not Muslim, those kinds of stories have informed the Middle East and North Africa for the last 1,500 years. And it's fascinating to see different people taking different approaches on these memes that have informed culture for centuries. And so when we can go back and see the same kind of thing in different ways, it's absolutely fascinating. But I drivel on about that because that's the level of importance given to the narrative that you choose to write for the artwork that you're working with. You know, that's the level of impact that it can have. So, think about that when you uh, touch up or revisit your Cocoon project. If you see that I haven't given you the grade that you want, go back, look at the comments, read the comments, and either defend yourself or work on it or explain to me what you were thinking. And I'll tell you a secret: if you take the time to do that without being abrasive and nasty, which has happened before, I really appreciate it. And you always get extra points just because you're having a conversation with me. But what I found is that you guys think deep enough about the work that you do that when you're able to communicate with me addressing that and add to the narrative, it really adds a lot to the piece as well. And that is one of the ways, as in, I believe it's the second quiz, that you engage your audience. So that's a really good thing to explore as well. So I look forward to seeing all those things. I look forward to seeing uh, the remaining things that were turned in. And like I said, I will get all that online by midnight tonight. And if you do have any more concerns or questions or anything like that, please do give me a call. Now we have a 12th person that joined. Um, who was that? Uh, I'm just going to go down
It's
the
me,
list of people. What's
Allie.
that? Allie. Okay. All right. Thank you, Allie. All right. Again, Uh, there's only one code word today. The code word is problematic because that describes my entire last 3 days. So if anybody and Allie, one of the questions that I asked was I wanted to hear from everybody how things are going course wise, and I also wanted to get a take on whether or not you thought you might be doing the morning or the evening session for the final. Again, you're not bound by that. You can do one or the other and switch, but you do need to make one of the two. Allie, where do you stand course wise, and which session do you think you'll get to, the morning or evening?
Doing okay course wise, just have a couple that I need to resubmit and then a couple that I'm behind on, but I should be good by the end of the day today. And I'll be at the morning one.
Okay. And Allie, you also missed it. The grades don't have to be due until Sunday night at midnight. So you guys have a couple extra days if that help. For those people that helps. For those that doesn't help, um, grab your soft drink of choice, take it easy, and watch something on Netflix. So, all right. Well, if there's no last minute, are there any last minute questions? I'll ask one last time. All right. Then feel free to email me with anything that comes up, and I will look forward to seeing everybody either Thursday morning or Thursday evening, either at 8 o'clock in the morning or 6:30 in the evening. And everybody should have that notification for those meetings. Everybody that's here today should definitely have that. Please let me know if there are any issues and you don't see anything showing up when you see this in our YouTube channel recording. But if you have any questions, just let me know. Okay? You guys have a great rest of your day. And I look forward to seeing you on Thursday.
Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.